Okay, let's talk about today's vocabulary material. Keep in mind that next week you will take the first vocabulary test covering lessons 1 through 4. So if you've been pretty comfortable with what we've been doing in class, then you should be pretty good for the test coming up. But we will talk on Thursday about the test, what exactly would be expected to do. I am following through on the promise that I made, that it will not be multiple choice, true, false, matching, that kind of nonsense. You will actually have dictionaries open, and you'll be finding words, you'll be learning new words, and there will be roots and prefixes on there that you have never encountered before. So it's not just memorization. But we'll talk about that more in detail on Thursday. Right now, yes, Carson? And what makes you say that those are prefixes? Give me the word that you're thinking of. Justice. Oh, no. Carson got the word that only leaves about 3,000 others for me to choose from. So, hold on, Yasmin. Let me take it one step at a time. Let's think about what Carson just did. Carson says, hey, I see that. I know a word that uses that. I know justice uses that. I also know that the just comes at the beginning of the word. Therefore, conclusion, prefix. Yasmin, what do you have to say about that?
I think it could be either a prefix or a root.
Prefix or a root. Okay, and what makes you say that?
Because I know the word adjustment has G-U-S.
Oh, man. Yasmin threw another word out that you're now not allowed to use. Yeah, and so the just now falls inside. So prefix or root. Somebody talk to me about the punctuation clue. Considering the punctuation on the board, what is that? Yasmin, put your hand down. I love that you answer all the questions, but it silences everybody else. Sophie, what's the punctuation clue that we decided earlier in the unit? How do we put your hand down? I'm asking Sophie. Sophie can do this, but then you make her nervous and you put your hand up like right in front of her face. Like, hey, Sophie, I know the answer to this question. So what's the punctuation that I would see that would indicate prefix or suffix? It's not the colon. Very good. We'll actually call that one a dash. Hyphen's a little longer, but you've got the right idea. So if it were a prefix, Sophie, where would I see the dash? After the S. Very good. I don't see that. This is commonly understood and used as a root. So what can we say about Carson's word in the analysis? Let's analyze it. Sarah, take Carson's word apart for prefix, suffix, and root. Just is one part. What part is just? Suffix, root, prefix? Prefix? And then what else do you have then? The root is ICE. Keep in mind, Sarah, and everybody else, and Sarah, you made a mistake, but I'm glad you made a mistake because a lot of people make these mistakes on the lessons, and I like to talk about mistakes so students don't make them again, so thank you. Your root should be this. I'll tell you that's a root, so that's what we're going to do. We have a root, we have a suffix, we have no prefix. Excuse me. What did I tell you before about words? Which of these three components must they have? No, which of these three? You just listed all three, Anthony. Which of these three must they have? The root. You got to have a root. The root's the base, foundation upon which everything else is built. You got to have that. So we need the root. Can we change that word into a different part of speech? Can you transform it? Oh, that changes the meaning, though. I want to keep the same meaning, Jarrett, but I want to change the part of speech. And that means that we don't change the prefix, we change the suffix in some way. take it a step back. You've got an adjective. Can you make it justice a verb? Your word is just one step too far. Ramp your word back a bit. You got justified. Take a suffix off it. It's okay. Hey, vocab skills packet. Come on, get them out. Look at your suffixes. Caitlin's on the cusp of knowing what the word is. She needs to know what suffixes or standard suffixes for verbs. So turn to the back of your vocab skills packet and look for standard suffixes for verbs. Yes. So Caitlin, I want you to take a look at that list of standard suffixes for verbs and tell me which or how the verb form of justice would end. I'm sorry? Yeah, so read it. What's the word? Not justified, but there you go. Nice job. We go from noun to verb. Notice the suffix. And then, Caitlin, you initially said justified. Caitlin, look at the next page in my little note about ED endings. Little note about ED endings. What part of speech is justified? It's used as an adjective. Good. It's also another way to make this an adjective. Anybody know what technically the straight adjective form of justice would be? A really simple adjective form of justice. Thank you, Maxwell. Just is an adjective. So if you were to say that was a just decision, you're saying that that decision has something to do with justice. It's fair. Remember, this is how you're playing around with just, jud, jur, or jude. Those are roots, various spellings, but they're all the same root. And they mean law or right. Right as in moral right, or right as in I have a right. Law, rule. So, for instance, the word jury, which is a group of people that interprets and decides law, or doesn't make laws, but decides how to apply laws. Judicial, which is an adjective having to do with the judicial system, having to do with the justice system. For today, you may not use jury, you may not use judicial, you may not use justice, and you may not use adjustment or the various forms thereof. Now, what a lot of you will do immediately when you go to the dictionary is look in the J section. Not necessarily. Think about prefixes. Yasmin thought about adjustment. She added a prefix to the root just and came up with a word. I know a lot of words that you guys know really quickly and easily that feature just as part of the root inside after a prefix. So don't think about some of the prefixes that you know and take a look through the dictionary. Take your time with it. At this point, you should be able to knock this out in the class period with no problem, so there's no need to rush. Remember, the dictionaries are available. Big Unabridged Dictionary is available. Computerswithdictionary.com are available. Once you are ready for group work, you let me know and I'll situate you in a group. This morning during English 8, a lot of students were joining themselves in groups together. Please don't do that. I would like you to wait for me to do that. I'd like to sometimes mix up the groups. All right, I will hand out the sheets. Oh, and lesson 3 will come back to you so you can see mistakes that you might have made so you don't make them on vocab lesson 4.